Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today's topic is something a little more serious that I feel like a lot of people are going to experience at one point or the other, especially at the beginning of your career, and that's something known as imposter syndrome. If you're not familiar with this term, imposter syndrome is that feeling that you have of just not being good enough, or that you're doing a job that you have no right doing because your skills aren't at the level that they should be to do that job. But everybody experiences this. I experience it. I've always experienced it at one point or the other. I don't always experience it, but sometimes you do question yourself. I recently watched a video from Adam Savage. Adam Savage was one of the co-hosts of Mythbusters, if you don't know. Now he works with a website called Tested that does a lot of videos. But Adam Savage is a builder. He does props. He worked on one of the Star Wars movies and one of the Matrix movies. He knows what he's doing. But even he, in a Q&A I saw, told somebody that he still feels like an imposter in his job sometimes. He'll make a dumb mistake that happens to everybody, you know? Sometimes you just make a mistake, but he'll make one and just feel like he's got no right to be doing what he does. So if somebody like that can feel this, it's okay for you to feel it, especially as a beginner. It's natural, especially when you're in a creatively driven field such as audio. You're going to feel self-conscious about your work at times. That's just how it goes. When you're doing work for a client that has said, I am paying you money for your skills, you're going to feel self-conscious about those skills at times. I think it really stems from a fear of rejection. Everybody's their own worst critic. When you're spending hours and hours on a project, you're going to hear all the little errors that you make, and they might not even be errors, but you're going to perceive them as errors because you can only see how you could have done better. But when you turn this project over to your client, they're not going to see those errors. They're just going to see the final product and what you've done, and it's going to be great. They're coming to you because they don't have the skills to do what you do. So what you give them is going to be way better than they could ever do themselves. I recently did one job that was a 2-minute long podcast advertisement, and they asked for, a really chipper, happy advertising voice that was just supposed to get people hyped up for their podcast. And I recorded this and I was editing it. And the whole time I was thinking, this is way over the top. This is not what they wanted. This sounds like a parody of an advertisement. And I felt really self-conscious about this to the extent that I questioned whether I should just start over and redo it. But I didn't. I turned it into them and they liked it so much that they ended up tipping me extra money off of it. It was all in my head. What I did was a great job and exactly what they wanted. I also just recently recorded an audiobook for somebody that had a character in it with a heavy German accent. And I've never done this before. I've never had to do a German accent. And I was kind of freaked out about it. I was watching YouTube videos, learning how to do an accent. I was reading tips from other voiceover artists about it. And the whole time I was recording, I was doing take after take every time this character had a line. And when I went back through and edited it, it sounded horrible to me. I thought for sure that the client would come back to me and ask me to redo it because it was just ridiculous. I thought I didn't pull off that accent. I thought they would know that I had never done this before. And I was freaked out until they finally accepted the order. And you know what? Once they did accept the order, they sent me a note saying, my favorite part was your accent for the German character. That was their favorite part. And yet it was something that I was freaked out over. So you're going to feel this, especially when you're doing something new. But you really do have the experience to back this up. You do have those skills to do a good job. And if you do have any questions, that's okay as well. It's okay to go online and have to search up how to do something that you don't know. That's going to make you stronger. If you take on a project where it's asking you to do something that you've never had to do before, this is a learning experience and everyone goes through this. You can be on a job for 20, 30 years and still have to ask questions or learn how to do something. That's just part of what we do. And it's going to be easy to start questioning yourself and thinking that since you just learned how to do this certain thing, that the client's not going to like it. But they're not going to know that you just learned it because you have experience behind you before learning this thing. You do know what you're doing. You just had to look up how to do one little thing. That's natural. That doesn't mean you're not ready. And that doesn't mean you should not try. You need to get going and learn this stuff. If you're waiting to start freelancing until you feel ready, you're never going to feel ready. I didn't feel ready when I started. I knew how to do stuff. I had experience on my own doing work, but I had never worked for money before. And in my head, I just kept thinking, I shouldn't be accepting people's money. I have no right accepting this money for this. I have never accepted money before. I shouldn't start now. But you do have to accept money at some point. You have to start. And when you do start freelancing, you're not charging the prices that people with decades of experience in the industry charge. You're charging prices that align with your skills. When somebody comes in and asks you to edit their podcast, you're not going to charge them hundreds of dollars for it. You're going to charge them a low fee because you're gaining experience right now, and they know that. They know they're not getting something professional, but they are getting something that they can't do themselves. And you do have more skills than they have. So don't feel like you shouldn't be able to charge people for your services just because you don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. Charge the rates that you're worth and move up as you learn more things. And the more work you do, the easier everything will become. You might have to look up a lot of things now when you come to things you don't know how to do, like a German accent. But in the future, you'll know how to do that accent. And everything will get easier and you'll look up less and less things until eventually you're only looking up things every once in a blue moon. You still have to look up things occasionally, but you know how to do everything. And once you reach that, you can start charging more money for your services and you'll feel more confident in it. I'm sure there will be times when you do still feel this imposter syndrome, just like Adam Savage does, but you're going to be good enough that you shouldn't have to feel that. And when you do feel that, you need to just tell yourself that you are doing a good job. If you're putting forth an effort into your work and you're not just giving a customer something that you're not proud of, it's probably going to be good enough for them. I've never had a client come back to me and just want me to completely scrap the whole thing and redo it for them. I have had times when clients have come back to me and asked for changes, but it's always been something small. It's always been, I was more picturing this in my head than this. It wasn't that I did something wrong. It was just that they had something else in their head and I've changed it. But overall, they've always been extremely happy with me. Learn to be confident in yourself. I still need to learn to be more confident in myself. I still go through this when I turn in a project. I still have that feeling of anticipation, wondering what they're going to think. And I probably shouldn't. I know I don't know everything yet, and I keep learning. But I do know how to get a project done. And that's what the clients are looking for. Anytime a client comes to you for an order, they have already seen your portfolio. They've already heard the voice work you've done for other books or the other podcasts you've edited. They've seen your style and they've heard your style and they like it enough to buy from you. If they didn't like your style, they wouldn't buy from you. So chances are you're already giving them what they want. And you need to remember that. They wouldn't buy from you if they didn't want your work. So I guess that's all I really have to say. It's easy to get sucked up into what it feels like to not know what you're doing, but you know more than you think. The deeper you get into any industry, the more you realize you don't know. But that doesn't mean you don't already know a ton already. If you're at the point where you're even considering becoming a freelancer, it's because you've already got experience behind you that you've done on a personal level. Maybe not a professional level, maybe not for money, but on a personal level. Otherwise, you wouldn't even consider doing this. So just know that the skills you have are enough to get you started. Don't ever stop yourself from starting out of fear. Just do it and jump in, because jumping in is the best way to learn. And I've learned more on the job than I ever did just doing my own projects for fun. All right, so that's it for today. I just wanted to talk about that. I don't know who needed to hear this, but if you did, I hope this helped you. And just know that you're not alone. I feel it. Everyone feels it. It doesn't matter at what level you are. You're going to feel this, but you don't have to. And when you do, just do something to bring up your spirits a little bit. Go back to a project that you've done that you're really proud of, or read reviews that people have left you, and just remember that you do a good job. And if you want to see more videos, stick around my channel, like this one, and then subscribe. And I hope to see you for the next one.